Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Girl MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio, and welcome to another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. Um, Normally I would come in, we would just go right into the start of the show, and then we would cover TNA wrestling and of course SmackDown Live that went down just earlier tonight. However, uh, there's been a flurry of action within the half an hour. Breaking news has been exploding over the internet. WWE, and for that matter, that other company that we don't talk about on the show, has been letting wrestlers go left and right. WWE has done a flurry of action, like I said, within the last half an hour. So this is what we know as of right now. This is the layout that we're gonna start the show with tonight. AOP, A. Carmen Razor, and Paul Ellering have been let go by WWE. Cedric Alexander has been let go by WWE. Sonya Deville, the word we're getting right now with Sonya, it's a different situation. Her contract ends at the end of this month. Sonya Deville will not be re-signed. She will be leaving WWE, but because she's not being fired and that her contract is just being let go, that she's not going to be re-signed, there is no 90-day non-compete clause in that contract, which means once the contract runs out at the end of the month, she becomes a free agent. She can immediately sign with any wrestling company in the world. And about a few minutes ago, I want to say about 15 minutes ago, Blair Davenport just got released by WWE. So, like I said, it's a fluid situation. We're waiting to see if there's any more announcements coming up. On top of that, it's not all bad news. Kevin Owens has re-signed with WWE, a new 5-year contract for KO. So we don't know what the particulars are with that contract, but my God, man. Here we are watching SmackDown Live, and then my phone just blew up like I said, within the last 15 to 20 minutes. And Anthony Florio, flurry of action in WWE within, like I said, within the last half an hour.
Absolutely.
We got cuts galore, and we're live right now at 11:10 Eastern time, and I don't think we're done. I think there could be more cuts coming. We don't know.
More cuts could be coming. Yes.
Yeah.
And
we don't know right now. We're kind of on the edge of our seat. We kind of got taken aback by a couple of these cuts. The Blair Davenport, that one hurt me. Like personally, that one hurt me.
Of course.
Within the last few minutes.
Absolutely. And here tonight, I am going to tell it like it is, and I'm going to give you a detailed analysis on each cut. So bear with me. As is the case with Sonya Deville, she wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a business. And nowadays, when you're going to get cut from WWE, it's going to be very, very tough because you want a piece of that action. WWE is the hottest it has ever been right now. And coming off of a 2024 where they set record after record after record after record, and every year from here on in, it's going to outperform the other. And if you're a talent and you're getting cut now, I mean, back under the old regime, you'd be like, yeah, fine, whatever. But this, yeah, it hits harder. And I mean, I know if I was a talent, it would hit me hard because you want to be a part of this era, this brand new era of WWE where They are just going crazy right now. Sonya Deville. She was a part of that Tough Enough in 2015, and she did all right on that. And she was a middle of the road kind of talent. I mean, she wasn't really, the biggest name, but obviously Pure Fusion Collective is now going to continue on as a duo now with Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Interesting, because Sonya Deville was pretty much the brainchild and put together Pure Fusion Collective. So I'm sure that Sonya and Zoe will do just fine without Sonya Deville. I mean, it's sucks for her, but we wish her the absolute best, and we'll see where she ends up down the line. AOP, same thing. I mean, but no, not really the same thing. I mean,
it's been injuries. Unfortunately for AOP, I'll confirm this. It's been injuries. They just can't stay healthy.
No, they cannot stay healthy at all.
I think for AOP, it's kind of been, there's just been too many injuries with the guys. They just can't, either one guy gets hurt or the other guy can't gets hurt. It's like AOP just can't stay healthy. I think that's why they've fallen out with WWE. It's not because they got the look. Their gimmick is great. Having Paul Ellering is amazing, but one of the guys always gets hurt or the other guy gets hurt. It's very unfortunate for AOP's kid. In the case of AOP, I think that's why they've gotten let go, because of the injury bug.
Yeah, definitely the injury bug, and also lack of creative. Definitely. Let me tell you about Akam and Razor. They returned to WWE television roughly a year ago after being released in September of 2020. They immediately joined up with Karrion Kross to form the Final Testament. They did have that nice program with Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, WrestleMania last year.
Yeah.
And then, of course, late last year, the feud with the Wyatt Six. And AOP has not wrestled at all in 2025. Their last match was on a main event taping in December. And like I said, Sonya Deville, of course, Pure Fusion Collective. We all know that. And Paul Ellering, let's face it, Paul Ellering, he's no spring chicken. I mean, he's an older gentleman. And, the older you get, the more, I mean, he's 71 years old. And the wear and tear of a full-time WWE schedule on someone of that age, I mean, that's not gonna I mean, you can't do it forever. And
yeah,
it was great to see him back. I mean, it was wonderful to see him back. And he served as a great mouthpiece for AOP, and now he can maybe enjoy retired life now. And or then again, you never know, maybe he could, serve as a mentor to his daughter, Rachel Ellering. I mean, he could maybe be, serve as a mentor to her and guide her in her journey through the crazy world of professional wrestling. Cedric Alexander. Oh man, I mean, back when I was covering 205 Live during my back in the days of 205 Live and the Tony's Take. If there was one guy who I felt was the best wrestler to never win the Cruiserweight Championship of the world, this was the guy right here. Why he didn't get a run with that was beyond me. But, it is what it is. But then he did, his big claim to fame was when he was a part of the Hurt Business with Bobby Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin, a former tag team champion with Shelton Benjamin in their own right before Mick Dinkelberg killed that off. Cedric Alexander, phenomenal talent. I mean, I first remember Cedric Alexander from when he was a part of the Cruiserweight Classic in 2016, and that was one of the first Tony's Take things I ever did. When we started the whole ridiculously raw cerebral smack talk thing in the summer of 2016. And one of the first things I ever covered as part of the Tony's Take was the Cruiserweight Classic. And Cedric Alexander gave us some really good matches on that. Some damn near bangers on that show. And from that moment on, I knew he was going to be something special. Hell, the fans were even pushing. The fans were telling Triple H, sign Cedric. And sure enough, he did. He listened. He gave the fans what we wanted. And then he goes on to the main roster. And he was part of 205 Live, like I said, did some great things there, had some good matches there. Still boggles me that he didn't get a Cruiserweight title run. He should have had at least one run with it. But, well, actually, I'm sorry. He did get a Cruiserweight title run. What am I talking about? He did. I think I was thinking of Mustafa Ali. That's who I was thinking of. We'll get to him later. But Cedric Alexander, a former Cruiserweight champion of the world, winning that at WrestleMania 34 on the kickoff show, defeating Mustafa Ali, had a good run with it until losing it to Buddy Matthews at that Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia, October of 2018. I mean, what a match that was. And he is a really good talent. And, his body of work speaks for itself. And any promotion would be lucky to have him wherever he ends up. And Blair Davenport, B. Priestley. She started as B. Priestley in that other wrestling company that we don't talk about anymore, and rightly so. I thought her going to WWE was going to do wonders for her. I really did. And NXT UK, WWE, and Smackdown, and the whole 9 yards. That the downside is, here's another one. I mean, yes, injuries are a part of it, but the 3 key words: lack of creative.
Yeah.
Big problem in the old administration.
Yeah.
I understand that because of who was running it. But nowadays, with creative being the best it's ever been, it's just a damn shame that they couldn't find anything for Blair Davenport to do. I mean,
I honestly feel like there's no excuse. They could have done something with her. And even one of my colleagues, Bill McConnell, who's sometimes a contributor with us here on Talking Wrestling TX, said he messaged me the minute I told him that Blair was let go, and he said it. WWE absolutely fumbled the bag with her. And
exactly.
I totally agree with that sentiment. They literally fumbled the football on that one. The ball is down. There's a scrum for it now. Where she lands, God knows where. But man, that out of all of the releases, Cedric, I understand. AOP, I understand. Sonya, even though they're saying that her contract is just going to expire, that they're just not going to renew her, I get it, okay. There's already fans yelling for Sonya to go to TNA. So, yeah. I think she could probably end up there. As far as Cedric goes, I hate to say it, I think he's going to that company in Florida. I really do. I think he's going to go there. I think he's going to end. Huh?
Career will go to die there.
So. Yeah, I don't think we're going to. I think he's going to go there. As far as AOP goes, God, I don't really know. I don't know where they go. But for Blair Davenport, B. Priestley, yeah, that company in Florida definitely could get her. She could go back to Japan. She could go back to Europe. There's more avenues for Blair Davenport in my honest opinion. I think Blair Davenport has more avenues where she could wind up in this wrestling thing. But yeah, as of right now, that's it. That's all the cuts that we have as of right now. There is no other news at this hour. Like I said, I'm just trying to see if there's anything more that's come out. And as of right now, That's all we have at this very moment. So we'll keep you posted, guys. We'll keep you posted. If we hear anything else, we'll cut in and we'll break that news immediately. Like I said, we got tonight's a hot one. We'll say that. We got a hot episode here tonight, folks. So we thought it was going to be a pretty quiet night, and WWE's kind of making us they're making us burn the midnight oil, as they say. Let's say that. All right.
Yes.
So with that said, we're just gonna dive right on in. We're gonna start out with TNA wrestling, like we're now doing now. So TNA wrestling, and what we started out with, the Joe Henry concert. Yeah, this was it. Anthony was waiting for it. I know the whole world was waiting for it. And you know what? I gotta say it. It was fine. I thought it was a good Joe Henry concert. I think if you know Joe Henry, you know how he performs. This was status quo. If you're watching it for the first time, where the hell have you been? I thought Joe Henry did a good job with the concert. I was entertained for the most part. Anthony Floyer, I know you were eating this up more than I was.
Absolutely.
But no, not bad. Good way to start the show. TNA champion, his infamous Joe Henry concert, and I gotta say they did pretty well with it. So Floyer, it's yours.
Yeah, solid. I mean what I've known the Joe Henry concerts. I mean, I always look forward to him, having funny a funny song about a certain heel. I mean, I was kind of expecting that. I mean, I kind of wanted to see that a little bit, but it was still fine. And then fun and games were over. Jake something shows up, and Jake something says, "Hey, I talked to Santino, and guess what? Next week, you're going to defend that World Heavyweight Championship against me." Biggest opportunity for Jake something in his career. A chance next week for the biggest win of his career to become the World Heavyweight Champion. Let's be realistic. That's not happening. Joe Henry's not losing that title next week. Jake will give him one hell of a try. He will. But at the end of the day, Joe Henry's walking out still the TNA Heavyweight Champion, and we'll see where it goes. But, I could say this was a more serious Joe Henry concert, not the funny ha-ha stuff that we've been known to see where he was making fun of certain heels. I mean, I'll always remember the one he did on Brian Myers and AJ Francis, among a few. But he was a little more. He didn't go after a certain heel, but I was kind of hoping for that. But other than that, minor criticism. Good-hearted fun like it always is. But next week, oh boy, Joe Henry and Jake something for the World Heavyweight Championship. That's going to be something. So we'll see. So set me up for the next match if you would, or the first.
All
match.
Right, first fight of the night. Well, are you ready for TNA versus NXT? Tyson DuPont.
Always.
Representing NXT alongside with Tyreek Igwe and Wes Lee, going up against Ace Austin, and it was Ace Austin winning the match in 5 minutes and 22 seconds. After the match, Wesley and Tyreek Igwe try to jump Ace Austin to try to do a 3-on-1 beatdown. Here comes the Rascals. Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz comes in with a couple of equalizers to chase out the heels. Looks like that 6-man's getting a little dicey here. So
it's coming.
And guess what? For once, score one for TNA. They get one over on NXT. So Anthony Florio, it's yours.
2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. I mean, fine match, solid, fun little sprint. I mean, Ace Austin No surprise he gets the win here. He's the bigger draw here, and there's no question we're getting a 6-man down the line. Ace Austin and the Rascals against Wes Lee, Tyson DuPont, Tyreek Igwe. Should be something else. I think it's going to be a very good match, to say the least. And yeah, fun little sprint here. 2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. So MF, your thoughts?
Fun little sprint. 2.25, 2.5. Definitely, absolutely a solid matchup. To say the very least. Yes, it was very good. Guys, all right. I can't believe it. This is just nuts. Okay. Gotta cut in again because now I'm getting more breaking news, but this time it's a signing. WWE has just signed Zillow Fatu. He's coming. Zillow Fatu has just signed on the dotted line. Just confirmed. So yeah, another Fatu is coming to WWE, boys, and this one is one of the big boys. So Zillow Fatu, we all know about his body of work. We've seen his body of work outside of WWE. He was recently wrestling with Booker T for his House of Hardcore promotion, and Zillow Fatu just signed. It's official. They just announced it just minutes ago. Zillow Fatu has just signed with WWE. My God, man, what a night! What a night it's been for us. So we got that. Just to give you guys that breaking news that just signed. Then we had a lot of promo stuff. Steph Delander along with Malice Warner and the digital media title. Then after that, we had the Battle Royale for the knockouts, that the winner of this one would receive a future TNA Knockouts Championship match. Of course, Masha Slamovich, the reigning champion. And when it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 8 minutes and 45 seconds and the new number one contender for the TNA Knockouts Championship, Savannah Evans wins it all. So, surprise outcome. Because Savannah, look, Savannah's been pretty good lately. I've gotten to see a little bit of her body of work. I like what I see. Cora J did get involved, though. Cora J showed up and pulled out formerly Xia Li of WWE, and it looks like Cora's kind of been poking the bear a little bit with Xia. That might come back to bite her in the butt sometime down the line, but we'll see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, Savannah Evans wins. She will get a shot eventually against Masha Slamovich for the TNA title, the TNA Knockouts title.
Next week.
Next week. All right, confirmed. And Anthony Florio, I'll give this about another 2.5, close to 3, as Savannah Evans wins the Battle Royale in 8:45.
I'm going to give it 3. I mean, surprise outcome here. I mean, I never would have expected Savannah Evans to get this win, but this is definitely the biggest win of Savannah Evans' career. You think about how far she's come. I mean, she's always been, a heavy, an enforcer. She was an enforcer, of course, for Tasha Steelz, and of course also an enforcer for Giselle Shaw. But now she's on her own now. She's not, she's not a lackey anymore. She's not a sidekick anymore. And she just picked up the biggest win of her entire career. And it could lead to an even bigger win next week when she challenges Masha Slamovich for that Knockouts Championship. Battle Royals, tricky to rate. But I thought this was a solid 3-star Battle Royal. And with a surprise outcome, and she's basically going to be the challenger of the week or month or whatever you want to call it. Masha's going to successfully defend, and we'll see what happens after that. So big win for Savannah Evans. But one thing that we do that does need to be addressed here, we had a surprise return of a woman that UMF know very well from her days when she was, the biatch in ECW, that being Jazz.
Yes, she was.
Jazz, I did not expect to see her. About Jazz from when she was dominating in ECW before she went to WWE, became a multi-time women's champion, had that great series of matches with Trish Stratus among those, and great to see her back. And it went pretty much like I said, surprise outcome. I didn't expect Savannah to win, but hey, here she is. So now we move on to next week, and she'll give Masha a fight. She'll give Masha one hell of a try, but Masha's going to successfully defend, and we'll see where it leads to when we get close to the big TNA Plus special that's coming up in a week or so. And let's also not forget, February 20th, a live Impact from Full Sail University, the former stomping grounds of NXT. So
yes, indeed. And I know, and a lot of people are talking about that show, that could be a very WWE heavy show where we could see a lot of infiltrations on that night.
Definitely.
Is what they're saying.
But a great performance from Savannah. Great performance by Savannah Evans. Cora Jade, she actually sat ringside. She actually sat in on commentary.
Yep.
With Tom Hannafin and Matthew Raywalt. Jazz, surprise participant, like I said. Alicia Edwards eliminating Tasha Steelz. That just goes to show there are no friends in Battle Royals. It's not just for the Royal Rumble. Spitfire had a good showing. Rosemary had a good showing. But Zaya Brookside, I thought, had a good showing. But in all honesty, Savannah Evans was a one-woman wrecking crew, and now she's going to move on to challenge for the Knockouts title, but she will not win it though. So not much more to say. 3 stars for me. So with that being said, let's move on.
Yeah, next up after this, we had a whole bunch of promo stuff that took a good amount of time on the show. Yeah. So the next actual physical match that we did have, Oh.
Yeah, a lot of time. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, was a 6-man tag team fight. Leon Slater and the Hardys goes up against 3 members of the system. Moose, Johnny Dango Curtis, and Eddie Edwards. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout, 10 minutes and 45 seconds, the Hardys and Leon Slater. Look, excellent match. Yeah, it's a little bit of a hard sell because you don't know how these type of matches will go. But to me, solid fight. I got to give it easily another 3-star bout. I thought they did a very good job. I thought the body of work was excellent. And Anthony Florio, I give it to you.
3 1/4, 3 1/2. Second best fight of the night. Very good 6-man tag. The star of the match, the man of the match, Leon Slater. And I'm telling you, I have been very high on this young man for quite some time now. And if there's anybody who I believe is going to dethrone Moose for that X Division championship, I think Leon Slater's the guy. I really do. When they do it, I don't know. It's not a matter of if, I believe it's a matter of when. And when that match gets made, I believe Leon Slater will be the next X Division champion. And he will take the X Division to new heights, to heights we've never seen before. it boggles my mind that this kid is only 20 years old. Yet it seems like he's been it's almost like he's a wily veteran. I mean, he does things that I can't even comprehend. It's unbelievable. So keep an eye out for this, and we got a potential breakout star of the year right here. I really do. So 3 1/4, 3.5 stars. MF, remember the name Leon Slater. You're going to be hearing that name quite a lot this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being our breakout star of this year when all is said and done.
It's very possible. The way he's been coming out right out of the gate. Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's been any other person right now that you can legitimately say who's had such a big impact, no pun intended, to the start of his career in 2025 than Leon Slater. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think there's a very good possibility we could see him as rookie of the year, breakout star, no doubt about it. So next up we had was Matt Cardona going one-on-one with Mike Santana, and it was Mike Santana winning the match in 8 minutes and 13 seconds. Anthony Florio, what's yours?
3. I'm gonna give this 3 stars. Solid match here. Mike Santana's his stock continues to rise, and I'll tell you what. I mean, we talk about Leon Slater, being possibly the next X Division champion down the road. I think Mike Santana is a future world heavyweight champion. I really do. And will he be the guy that will dethrone Joe Henry? Maybe, but I don't think so. We'll have to wait and see how the booking decides that. But mark my words, I wouldn't be surprised if sometime later this year, I would not be surprised if Mike Santana becomes the TNA heavyweight champion. They're grooming him to be a future champion. I'm telling you right now. But they're keeping him out of the picture for a little bit. I do believe he's going to be in a program now with Mustafa Ali. That's going to be some good stuff right there.
Oh yeah.
I really believe that we could be looking at some banger matches coming out of that feud, no doubt. So once he gets by Mustafa Ali, maybe then they'll slowly start to groom him towards becoming the future TNA heavyweight champion, because he's on his way and his stock continues to rise. And I believe by the end of this year, Mike Santana will be the TNA heavyweight champion. I don't know if he's going to beat Joe Henry for it, though. Maybe, but I really don't know. But, we'll just have to wait and find out. But solid 3 stars for me. So, MF, Santana's stock continues to rise. Defeating Cardona, that's definitely a resume builder for him. And like I said, sometime this year, Mike Santana is going to be the TNA heavyweight champion. No doubt.
I cannot disagree with anything you just said there, Anthony Florio. I really believe that, yeah, you're absolutely right. It could definitely be one of those type of situations where we could be talking about them. Yeah, I think there's a very good possibility we could be talking about him as one of the top guys in the world, and who knows how that plays out. So Mike Santana did really well. I thought this was a solid matchup. And yeah, I'll give it credit where credit's due. I'll give this another 3, about 3 1/4 stars is my rating on that matchup. And now let's give you the rundown on next week's TNA. And I'll say this, guys. You want to talk about a loaded show? This is as loaded as it's going to get. So we got ourselves a lot of action. Next week, we got Josh Alexander going one-on-one with Eric Young. Sami Callihan going up against Frankie Kazarian. Anthony, you mentioned this one. Zaya Brookside going one-on-one with NXT's own Cora Jade one-on-one. Obviously, you mentioned this earlier. Masha Slamovich versus Savannah Evans for the TNA Knockouts Championship. And in the main event, Joe Henry versus Jake Something for the TNA Heavyweight Championship, all next week on TNA Impact. So, and leading into our main event of the evening, it was Axiom and Nathan Frazier putting the NXT Tag Team Championships on the line against Nick and Ryan Nemeth. And when it was all said and done, winners of the bout in 14 minutes. Hold on, let me see. Yes, 14 minutes and 40 seconds. And still the NXT Tag Team Champions, Axiom and Nathan Frazier. Fight of the night. Hell of a main event. Well done, TNA, for putting this match together. And I got to give this 3.5 stars. This was excellent action. Everything looked really good. Yes, you saw the ending where you could see the dissension between the brothers that led to the downfall. So I like that part of the storyline. But at the end of the day, they got it right. Obviously, you don't want to take the belt off of Axiom and Nathan Frazier. You know, eventually they will lose the belts. Eventually they will lose the belts. We just don't know who they're going to lose it to yet. I think that's the real $1 million question is who's going to be the team that's going to dethrone them, because we've been for months been saying, oh, Axiom and Nathan Frazier is going to lose it to this team, then they're going to lose it to that team, then they're going to lose it to that team, and some way somehow they find a way to win the match and keep the belts. So I don't know. Anthony Florio, it's all yours.
3.5 to 4 stars. Fight of the night for me. I mean, yes, we've been talking about Frazier and Axiom losing the NXT tag team titles to certain teams, but let's be honest. Did you really think they were going to lose it to the Nemeth brothers? No, they were not. This is one team I did not think Fraxium was going to lose the titles to. Absolutely not. But the Nemeths gave him one hell of a try, and this is what Frazier and Axiom are known for. Banger after banger after banger after banger. I mean, you could put them in there against a dud enhancement team, and they would still make it an entertaining match. For goodness sakes. I mean, that's how good this team really is. You think, I mean, you really think that we picked these guys as our tag team of the year for nothing? I mean, jeepers. I mean, like I said, banger after banger after banger, and last night, no exception. A 3.5 to 4 star match, and they made the Nemeths look good, and they make any team they look good. They make any team that goes against them look great, and they did it here with the Nemeths. So, well, now they're back. They'll be back in NXT soon enough, and we'll see which one of their teams will finally be the team to dethrone them. But they're approaching legendary status with those tag team titles. I mean, if they keep doing what they're doing, they could be. If they keep doing what they're doing, MF, there is no doubt about it in my mind. They will go down as the greatest tag team in NXT history. And you think of all the great teams that NXT has produced, like the Lucha Dragons and the Ascension and so many others. I mean, you think of all the great teams that have held the NXT Tag Team Championships. I have never seen a team more consistent and more fun to watch than Fraxium. And when it doesn't matter if they're on NXT, if they're on TNA, there's no question about it. They are an absolute joy to watch. You're in for a treat every time you see these guys wrestle. And I, for one, couldn't be any happier for those guys. And I'm telling you, they're approaching legendary status with those tag team titles. If they keep this up, they just might go down as the greatest tag team in NXT history. So more power to them. 3.5 to 4 stars. This is the fight of the night, no question about it. So with that being said, it's overall review time for me, I believe. So
Yep, you lead
let's
off.
7.25 out of 10 for me. Joe Henry opened the show with an entertaining concert. The guy is carrying himself like a star, and it is up to TNA on how to protect him and keep the hype on him going forward now that he is the TNA heavyweight champion. Savannah Evans, I mean, it's a surprise win, yes, but if I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not really all that excited about it, though. I mean, her winning the Battle Royal, I'm sure, I mean, it was obviously just to get them the next week. There's not a whole lot of quality talent in the division that can take the loss from Masha Slamovich. Leon Slater, again, got a major push being in the company of Matt and Jeff Hardy, and I hope they continue with his momentum and with the momentum that he has gotten from this. And, of course, Fraxium had a very good match to main event the show. Nick Nemeth is definitely suited for the main event, but he makes for a solid team with Brother Ryan, and they had a good layout for the bout here that kept it interesting until the finish. And I know Fraxium is under NXT contract, and I understand that, but I think they would be great as regulars in TNA if only they weren't the NXT Tag Team Champions, meaning they most probably cannot lose anything. So 7 to 7.25 out of 10 for me. Solid show, great main event, and looking forward to that big show next week, which we'll address on this show next week. So looking forward to that. So 7.25 out of 10 for me. MF, your overall thoughts, and then we'll get into tonight's SmackDown.
I'm going to go a little lower, but not by much. 7 out of 10. I thought it was a solid show. I thought there was some really good stuff. The only thing that I kind of felt like dragged it down was there was too many promo segments. I really wish that they cut that down to a minimum.
Agreed.
Other than that,
Agreed.
that's the only criticism I had. I thought some of the matches were fine. There was a couple of fights that were too short for my liking, but solid main event. The women's battle royale was actually pretty good. The Joe Henry concert at the beginning was a chef's kiss, and I thought they did a fine job. TNA did fine. So that's my rating, 7 out of 10. All right, let's get into SmackDown Live. Started out with a promo segment by the winner of the men's Royal Rumble match, main event, Jey Uso, interrupted by Cody Rhodes. Cody came out and basically said it. Look, I'm a little hurt. I did suffer some injuries in the ladder match, but it's not going to stop me from going to WrestleMania. They said I got fluid in the elbow. They also specified that his hip was knocked out of place a little bit. They said that he was definitely hurt, but it's not going to stop him from defending the title or anything else. So, they're saying that he's good to go. Don't worry, he's good. So he's gonna try to tough it out. So he's gonna be a warrior. He's gonna try to tough this out, and then Jey Uso's like, look, I still got to make up my mind. But I will say this: whoever I'm going up against, I'm taking the belt. Well, that brought out Jacob Fatu and that also brought out Tama Tonga, and they kind of were like, yeah, nah, and they started getting into it. Leads us into the main event of the evening, which will be a tag team fight. We'll get into that in a little bit, but Anthony Florio, it wasn't as crazy, wasn't as loud, wasn't as raucous as Cleveland was, but we were definitely feeling the yeets, especially in Memphis, Tennessee, at the FedEx Forum tonight.
This was clearly done to set up the tag match, and it went about as well as any of this type of segment does. It was a pretty basic setup and promo, but it worked. Jey Uso is super over, and Cody Rhodes remains popular. Whether Jey Uso challenges Cody Rhodes or not, they will likely remain on good terms. and I think it is really great, and it's awesome to see how over Jey Uso is after so many years as a tag team guy. He has worked hard, and he deserves this opportunity. So that's those are my takeaways from this promo segment. A very typical opening promo. So we'll address the main event later on. So with that being said, we get into our first match of the night, and MF, we got an Elimination Chamber qualifying match, first of two on the women's side.
Yes, indeed. It was Piper Niven going one-on-one with the EST, Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair winning the match in 8 minutes and 5 seconds. Bianca Belair has punched her ticket to the Elimination Chamber. Florio, it's yours.
2.5, 2 3/4 of a star. These two have had several great encounters in the past, and while this was good, I thought it felt short of their best matches by a sizable margin. The last couple of minutes were fun, but it did not have as much energy throughout most of the match as expected. And Bianca Belair has done the fail twice before hitting the finisher on the third try setup with Niven in almost every bout. So that's really all we can say on that. So no surprise about the outcome. Bianca, far bigger star than Piper is. Mm-hmm. And, just like with the men's match, I mean, let's not forget, both Royal Rumble matches with the men and the women, both of those were stacked. A little more on the men's side than on the women's, but still. And they're doing the same thing with the Chamber.
Oh, yeah.
And while it's not 30, we go all the way from 30 all the way down to 6. And look who we have on the women's side so far. Liv Morgan, and now you add Bianca Belair to that mix.
Yeah, you're already loading up the star power already. And the thing is, if you're a Bianca Belair fan, if you're a Liv Morgan fan, you're kind of thinking in the back of your mind that either one of these girls could actually win the Chamber and challenge for whatever championship Charlotte Flair ultimately decides to go after. The other champion would have to wait to see who wins this match to see who they face off at WrestleMania.
Positively. So that's really all I can say on that. So we have another one coming up later on, which features another big name. So we'll see how that goes. So 2.5, 2 3/4, like I said. So MF, Bianca, and Liv so far. And we got more coming.
Yeah, and it was about a solid 2.5 star match. I thought it was a really good fight. It was definitely, like you said, Bianca was trying to go for the power. Piper was resisting. Ultimately, she did fall to the KOD, but I mean, it was still a solid match for what it was worth. I enjoyed it. All right, so next up we had, first off, major announcement coming from my general manager, Nick Aldis. And this one definitely warmed my heart. Welcome to SmackDown, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. Welcome back to the Blue Brand. So very excited to see that. Then we had Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano DIY cutting a promo. Was interrupted by Pretty Deadly. That Nick Aldis came out, gave us a 2-for-1, and basically said that, it's going to be a non-title match, but if that Pretty Deadly wins this match, they get a championship committee moment. They get a future shot at the tag team titles. Well, lo and behold, championship committee moment. Pretty Deadly wins the match in 3 minutes. We don't really need to talk much about it because, I hate to say it, a commercial got in the way of this match. So it kind of limited the match itself. And it was a roll-up for the win. There was a debate about a pulling of the tights, but there wasn't. There was no backdoor victory for Pretty Deadly.
Yes,
but
there was. Yeah, there was.
He used the top rope. Yeah, he used the rope. Yep. So Anthony Florio kind of flipped out on it too, calling it out, saying he had the rope. He had the rope. That's not fair. This whole thing wasn't fair. DIY wasn't ready. They were in their street clothes. They weren't in no wrestling gear. You're gonna call this a fair victory, Fletcher? And I was like, hey, Nick Aldis made the match. I don't know what else there is to say.
Nick Aldis made the match. Yeah, so what?
Yeah, so uh, you could call this an NA. I mean, it was really short. The only thing is, it's a championship committee moment. That's
It
all I
is.
can say about it. I don't think there's much to talk about there.
No.
Next up, we had, well, Drew McIntyre comes out, cuts a promo, gets met up by Jimmy Uso. He cut it on Drew McIntyre, and they had a good back and forth. Then LA Knight came out. He spoke his piece, cut in a promo, and we ended up getting a triple threat for the right that the winner gets a shot at the Elimination Chamber. When it was all said and done, winner of the bout, 12 minutes and 40 seconds, Drew McIntyre winning the match. He's going to the Elimination Chamber. And Anthony, you talk about the women being star-studded. On the men's side now, John Cena, CM Punk, and now Drew McIntyre. Woo!
Yes. And Monday night on Raw, we're going to add either Rey Mysterio or Logan Paul to that mix. And look what you have in store for you next week on the show. A triple threat, be a man fight. Damian Priest, Braun Strowman, Jacob Fatu. Are you kidding me?
I hope the ring is reinforced because, oh my God, that's a whole bunch of meat.
Sign us up for that, and get ready for one hell of a be a man triple threat fight. No doubt about that. As far as this is concerned, 3.25, teetering on 3.5. This followed the usual pattern in 3-man bouts. Each combination of competitors took turns fighting one-on-one until the third man took one of them out and replaced them. The match saw all three men get plenty of chances to shine since it lasted through 2 segments. They each came close to winning, but it was Drew McIntyre who scored the win by hitting a Claymore on LA Knight. At the same moment, LA Knight hit a BFT on Jimmy Uso. Solid 3-way dance with a predictable but logical outcome. And McIntyre tried to play off the reports of him storming out of the arena at the Royal Rumble as part of his character. LA Knight referenced the story in a much funnier way by saying he had to get his stuff in during the match. And McIntyre purposely mixing up the Usos would have been funnier a few years ago when they still had the same hairstyles and attire. And I don't know what else there is to say there. So, one of the fights of the night for sure. 3.25, 3.5, and wow. John Cena, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre. And then you're going to add Rey Mysterio, or Logan Paul to that on Monday night in Nashville. And then next week, you're going to add either Damian Priest, Braun Strowman, or God forbid MF. Could you imagine Jacob Fatu in the Elimination Chamber?
Oh,
that animal.
I mean, he was terrorizing the Royal Rumble. He got 4 eliminations. He actually tied with Roman Reigns, and I think there was a couple of other guys that got like 4 eliminations. It wasn't like a breakout star in the men's Royal Rumble like when Nia Jax went on a run and eliminated like 9 in the women's Rumble, where in the men's you had like 3 or 4 guys. You had like 3 guys with 4 eliminations each in the men's Royal Rumble. So they all kind of, there wasn't like one breakout star in the men's Royal Rumble.
Only two. Two men had 4 eliminations: Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns.
And Roman, yeah. So I mean, we'll wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, if Jacob Fatu gets locked into one of those internal chambers, or let alone has to start the match, that no. That's all I can say. We'll see. It's
In
gonna
a
be
way, I'm
interesting.
kind of pulling for him. I'm kind of pulling for Jacob Fatu to win that match.
Oh yeah, obviously.
Because I want to see what kind of mayhem and destruction he causes in that chamber. And if he does get to the chamber, I hope they put him in one of those pods. I want to see him lose his mind in that pod. Oh.
Yep. So
I can't wait for that match next week. So 3 1/4, 3 1/2. You can make an argument for Fight of the Night honors if you wanted to. So,
yeah, 3 1/4 stars for me. I thought they did a really good job. I thought the match was fine for what it was worth. And now you move on to the next thing that they had was Carmelo Hayes versus Akira Tozawa. Carmelo Hayes winning the match in 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Now, I'm going to openly admit this. This match should have had no business of being this good. And it actually was a pleasant surprise. I'll give it about 2.5 to 2 3/4 of a star. Even though the outcome was never in doubt, Akira Tozawa really performed really well in this matchup, and he really carried the match very well. Obviously, you got to give Carmelo the moment. You think Carmelo was going to win the match, which he did. So fine for that. The right man went over. But give it up for Akira Tozawa, man. Normally he doesn't get that much airtime on TV. They gave him ample time, and man, he made the most of that of his moment. So 7 minutes and 30 seconds, not bad. 2.5, 2 3/4, Anthony Florio. A match that normally would on paper have no business. This would have been like a delicious squash.
yeah.
Akira Tozawa really shined under the time. He did really well.
Credit Carmelo Hayes for that. I mean, he made him look good. And a far more entertaining bout than it had any right to be. You're absolutely right. I mean, you think when you hear a match of this caliber, you're thinking, oh, this is gonna be a squash, it's gonna be a dud. I'm going to go as far as to call this the sleeper fight of the night. I mean, I was not expecting this to be anything good, but alas, here we are. 2.5 stars for me, solid 2.5 for me. The match had a good pace and a lot of energy, but it never felt like they found their groove completely. Most of the moves looked good, but they lacked a level of chemistry that would have made this a really fun match. And the Hurricanrana spot could have looked a lot better. Hayes almost tripped before he was supposed to hit the turnbuckle. Hayes accidentally hit the referee during the kickout, and you could see him apologize immediately and ask if she was all right while still selling. And Carmelo Hayes' springboard DDT looked awesome, and Akira Tozawa sold it well. Solid 2.5 stars. And I believe, well, we heard from the men's Royal Rumble winner earlier in the show. We go from the men's Royal Rumble winner to the women's Royal Rumble winner, and business damn sure picked up in your women's division, MF.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. We had the Queen Charlotte Flair cutting a promo, was interrupted by the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton, but then Tiffany got interrupted by Nia Jax because, oh, by the way, Nia basically said, yeah, I'm putting my rematch clause in, and I'm getting the shot next week on Smackdown. So Charlotte Flair's like, you know what? I might be here next week just to watch you two go at it, because if you guys are talking about Royal Rumble, talk about WrestleMania and everything else, I'm a little intrigued right now. So Charlotte's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to keep my eye on this one. So obviously, Charlotte is perked. She she liked what she's seeing from the SmackDown side. A lot of people are indicating that they're thinking it could be Tiffany versus Charlotte for WrestleMania, and the way that kind of went down, it looks like for Charlotte to indicate that she's coming back to SmackDown next week, maybe it's very possible we could get the Queen versus Tiffy time. But Nia Jax is already saying that she's going to win the belt, and that in Charlotte, you're not facing Tiffany at WrestleMania. You're going to be facing me instead. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But yeah, Tiffany, her championship is definitely in grave danger as she's going up against Nia Jax next week. Anthony Florio, fine promo. Of course, Tiffany was saying that how much she idolized Charlotte Flair, everything else. And Charlotte turns around and is like, well, if Rhea Ripley is a kid, you're a child. And yeah, Tiffany was not having that level of disrespect until Nia showed up. But we'll get into the other part in just a minute. But let's talk about this promo, and then we'll get into the other thing in a minute. So it's yours.
Does Charlotte Flair versus Nia Jax scream WrestleMania match to you? No.
Not really.
Dude.
If Nia wins the title, if I'm Charlotte, I'm going after Rhea at that point.
Yeah, but the thing is, Nia versus Charlotte, I mean, the fans would absolutely poo-poo all over that match. Because Charlotte and Nia are the two biggest heat magnets in WWE right now.
Yep.
And they've got that go-away heat. So that's why I brought that up. But Charlotte came out to celebrate her Rumble win, called out and she called the other 29 competitors unserious women. And as soon as she brought up Tiffany Stratton, Tiffy arrived on the scene. The crowd chanted for her as she congratulated Charlotte on winning the Rumble, but for turning into her usual insulting self. Nia Jax and Candice LeRae showed up. And then Alexa Bliss comes out, and it leads into our next match, which we'll get into in just a moment. Yep. But it would have been nice if Alexa Bliss was given some mic time after 2 years away. And either WWE was mixing the audio differently during our next match, or the crowd was incredibly uninterested in it at first. And I'll have one other thought on that in just a moment. But a good promo segment here. And at the end of the day, I ultimately believe it's going to be Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's Championship at WrestleMania. It's been long rumored, and that would be that would be a really fun match. I would love to see it happen. So and of course, fresh matches. You know how I've been about fresh matches over the years. And while it would be nice to see Charlotte and Rhea one more time, I mean, after the two bangers they had at 36 in the Performance Center and 39 at SoFi, I mean, which, oh, by the way, those are the two greatest women's matches in WrestleMania history, 1 and 2 right there. 39, just a smidge better than 36, and no doubt they would have another banger, but in all honesty, I want to see Charlotte and Tiffy. Whoa, that's a fantasy booker's dream come true right there. So can't wait to find out how it all plays out. So fine segment here. Nia finally cashing in or invoking her rematch clause. And she'll give Tiffy a hell of a fight. She'll give her a hell of a try, but I ultimately believe Tiffany will find a way to successfully defend the title, and then we'll take it from there. So solid promo here. So with that being said, let's get into our second women's Elimination Chamber match qualifier.
It was Alexa Bliss going one-on-one with Candice LeRae. Alexa Bliss is going to the Elimination Chamber, winning the match in 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah, 3 to 3 1/4 stars. They got started when the show returned from the commercial break after the promo segment. The crowd was weirdly quiet as the match got started. They worked through a break into the next segment, and the crowd began to wake up a little as they increased the intensity of their offense. Alexa Bliss won her first singles match in 2 years with that Sister Abigail DDT. This was decent at the end, but the crowd's lack of energy really hurt the presentation on TV. And the reason for that is, I think it was either because WWE was mixing the audio differently during that match, or the crowd was incredibly uninterested in it at first. And both of these women are usually outsized by their opponents, so it was fun to see them get to work with someone of equal size. So, outcome not in doubt. I mean, you had a feeling Alexa was going to go over here. I mean, the shocker of the Royal Rumble with her making her grand return after all that contract talk nonsense, and it's great to have her back in it. And we talked about it earlier. The star power in the chamber matches on both sides. Cena, Punk, McIntyre already on the men's side, and now MF women's side. Liv Morgan, Bianca Belair, and now you got Little Miss Bliss in this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh wee. And next week, I believe we have another qualifier next week. But of course, the big announcement that was made today on the not this Monday night on Raw, but the following Monday, February 17th, in a women's chamber qualifying match, Raquel Rodriguez versus Roxanne Perez. Whoa. Oh. Could you imagine if Roxy wins this thing? And she deserves it. After the outstanding performance Roxy put forth in that women's Royal Rumble match, now the new record holder for longevity. I mean,
yeah.
Man, I mean, sky's the limit, and we're looking at an all-timer. We're looking at 2 all-time chamber matches on both sides of the fence. So, 3 to 3.25 for that. So, MF, Liv, Bianca, Little Miss Bliss. Wow.
Yeah, this has been pretty amazing, no doubt about it. No, I thought they did a really good job with it. Yeah, 3.5 stars. Nothing more to say. I think Anthony, you covered everything on that one. It leads us to the main event of the evening, which was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso versus Jacob Fatu and Tama Tonga. It was Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso winning the match in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. But after the match was over, Cody was enjoying the moment of glory in the ring, and then somebody in the hood showed up in the ring. Ambiotic Spike. You know what that means. You know who that is. Solo Sikoa is back. Oh no. Solo in the house now. This just got interesting because now the original leader of the quote-unquote new bloodline just showed up in the building. Here we go. It's about to go down now. So, solid main event. Another 3-star bout. Really nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
You forgot to hype the next week's show.
I could get that quick. Hold on. I'm sorry, my bad.
Yeah, no.
Let
Which
me
is, of course,
see.
customary. What we customarily do before the main event of our respective shows.
Yeah, all right. My bad. So next week, just to give you guys a heads up, I apologize. Smackdown from Washington, D.C. And we got, of course, the women's championship match, the WWE women's title on the line. Nia Jax versus Tiffany Stratton. It will be Chelsea Green going up against Naomi in a Elimination Chamber qualifying match. Of course, the one that we also talked about, it's gonna be Damian Priest, Jacob Fatu, and Braun Strowman in a triple threat in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. And we are also going to get Motor City Machine Guns versus Los Garza in a tag team match as well. So now, Anthony, let's go on to the main event.
Yes, 3 to 3.25 stars. The match played out in predictable fashion with Cody and Jay winning, but Solo Sikoa made his return and attacked Cody to end the show. At some point, we need to get a segment with Jey Uso and Roman Reigns talking about the Royal Rumble. Cody had his arm taped up and talked about being injured earlier in the show, so he was selling more than usual in this bout. And WWE has had a bad habit of starting a match and then going to a break about a minute later. That's something they got to work on there. But I'll give it about 3 to 3.25 stars. Predictable outcome. But I don't think any of us had Solo coming back on the bingo card tonight. But alas, there he is. So I don't know what else there is to say. Let's get your thoughts, MF.
Solid main event, solid fight, no doubt about it. 3 stars, total agreement on that one. It was good for what it was worth. I thought they did a really good job with it. I really got nothing more to add. So Anthony, you know what? I got to lead off on the overall review. Solid show. I'll give this about 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I really thought they did a really good job with it. It felt a lot more better. It felt a lot more fluid. You know, the promo segments were really solid. I'll say this. I was on the Discord chat with a couple of people, and we were eating up the Drew McIntyre, Jimmy Uso, LA Knight promo. We were having a field day with that one. Oh my God, we were like, oh, because of the roasting that was going on that. All in all, good show, solid night, and yeah, really nothing more to say. Anthony Florio, it's yours, my friend.
Yes, sir. 7.5 out of 10 for me. You pretty much said everything there is to say on it, so I agree with everything you just said. So 7.5 out of 10 for me. So with that, MF, let's set the table for a huge a huge special edition of TXN Sports World tomorrow night.
Yeah, huge edition of TXN Sports World tomorrow night, and it's gonna be a big one too. So, we're previewing Super Bowl. This is it. You waited for it. You wanted it, guys. This is the biggest event of the year. Super Bowl 59. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Philadelphia Eagles. And we are gonna go into a deep dive. We're going all in on this, baby. We're gonna talk about it all. Who we think we're gonna go through everything: offense, defense, special team, coachings, intangibles. We're gonna go through it with a fine-tooth comb, the most deepest, most you want why we're gonna give you it all. And when it's all said and done, you'll get our official prediction, and you're also gonna get who we think is gonna be the MVP of the Super Bowl as well. So that will be tomorrow night, 10:30 on the Tone 25. And then on Tuesday, we do it all over again with Ridiculously Raw. On Thursday, we will have the recap of the Super Bowl. We'll have the NFL Honors, the Hall of Fame. We might do a preview of, and then we're actually going to preview the NBA All-Star Weekend. And we're also going to be previewing the Four Nations tournament. That is actually a special hockey tournament. Normally they do the NHL All-Star Weekend right around this point, but they're not doing that. They're doing what they call the Four Nations. Finland, Sweden, Canada, USA. We're going to do a preview of that tournament, and it's a 1-week tournament that will be held in Montreal and Boston. 2 original 6 cities are going to be hosting this tournament, and yeah, we're gonna preview that. So that will be on Thursday, and then 1 week from tonight, we do it all over again with the Cerebral Smack Talk, with TNA, and with Smackdown. And I do believe there's a TNA special, Anthony, you said? next week, or is that the week after?
Well, I'm trying to find it. Bear with me for a moment, but
Yep.
I'm just trying to find the schedule, the schedule. Actually, I don't think TNA is doing a. I don't believe TNA is doing a monthly special for the month of February, unless I'm missing something. But I think their next monthly event is scheduled for March 14th. It's called Sacrifice.
Okay.
So there is, however, an NXT event though. NXT Vengeance Day. Next Saturday, February 15th.
And we'll be previewing that next week then.
Correct.
All right. So with that said, we're out of here. So for Anthony Floyo, I am Michael Fletcher. Have a good night, everybody, and we will see you all next week. Actually, we'll see you all tomorrow night for the preview of Super Bowl 59.
Goodbye.